uploaded in the master, then the intelligence system can automatically understand the penalty and give that penalty amount. But about the other CN, a module needs to be built. So, we just wanted to understand that what is the way it can be built and how it is like a CNS raised across an invoice. How do we raise it that way?
Understood. Vidya, currently we have, I will tell you the scenarios where
Just,
we will
Nandini,
collect the,
can I record this meeting once?
yeah, sure.
Yes.
There are, I mean, I will share you the scenarios where all we will collect. So where
Yes.
all So where all we collect the credit notes or the debit notes. So currently for the TAT bridge, which we already talked, I mean, we started with this penalty debits, right?
Right,
So
right.
we will not ask vendors to submit the credit note.
Huh.
We ourselves will initiate a debit note internally generated debit note copy, which is signed and then uploaded in our vendor portal for I mean the same debit note will be accounted in the system and will be recovered from the vendor payments.
Oh,
So vendors are not involved in this case where because if we give the data to the vendors, then they'll take their own time to come back with the reconciliation. So we will communicate daily basis. These is the trips which have crossed the TAS. So basis that daily follow up. So the month end we will have the entire 25 to 26 days data, and from that how many trips are breached the TAT we will go and raise the debit as per the 1 second. There are 2 3 minutes. We will start the discussion.
okay.
We'll continue. Huh. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Uh,
We were on the debit note point which you.
Debit notes. See, for the penalty, currently we are not asking vendors to submit the credit notes. We are initiating the debit notes from our side. I think so. The in the Intergen portal, yes, there should be a, from our side also we have to generate a debit note copy from the system itself, and then the same debit note needs to be uploaded again in the same system for final recovery from the vendor account.
Okay, and then just one small doubt I have. Can just like just confirming this, help me out if this can solve this issue. So if for basis of the let's assume that the credit note and debit notes is raised for the penalties of the transit tax, right? Exceeding. So for example, and these things are you raise these debit notes basis the contractual amount of the
Yes.
transit tax. So if
Yes.
I add this already in the in the contract master that basis whatever matrix we have and Intuition calculates it, do we
Okay.
have an issue with it? Matlab, that way our debit note and credit note reconciliation will also reduced. That was our best friend's suggestion as well for this.
See, whatever it is, at last we have to do the recovery from the vendor, right? If the tat is crossed.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. So, for
Uh,
example, let's assume a particular trip in which the TAT has been crossed by say 12 hours, and according to the contract, if the TAT has crossed 12 hours, then we'll deduct 2% of the cost from you.
okay.
Hypothetical situation. So,
Uh-huh.
in this case, Intuition will, since Intuition also has that transit TAT calculation, it will see that it has been crossed. The primary freight, the system amount which will be reflected will be basis the 2% reduction, which will be shown that this has been this
No,
activity.
this way I think it will not work with the, it should be a separate recovery only.
Just a second. You are on 10th floor, na? I'll just come there only then.
Okay.
Just a second. I'll come. We were on that point. For example, let's assume that the 2% has been deducted. That will not work, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
See, directly deducting a cost, what is, see, the trip cost is 80. And if we see there is a TAT breach, I mean, there is a TAT breaching, if we are adjusting that amount in the tax invoice, then there will be a problem.
No, but it will be in the first step, no, not the tax.
But if it is first step also, final payment will go after deducting the 2% or 3% charges, right? And here, Ajay will explain, I mean, you explain the scenario.
Example one trip, what you are telling 80,000, right?
Mhm.
The vehicle will be delayed for 4 hours or 6 hours.
Yes.
It can be for from Flipkart side also and vendor side also. We cannot judge on that time.
Right.
We want to recheck and we want to do the.
No, this I understood. So the point is, see, even if we are reducing and sending it, let's say this will come as a CN, right? Like for even for credit note.
No, if it is already deducted, CN itself is.
No, understood. If it is already deducted and the vendor will know ki this is not my rate, it is deducted for so and so reason.
Okay.
Then the vendor can contest it.
Okay.
If the vendor is saying no, this is not because of my fault, then it will come to us again, right?
Okay.
If the vendor contests
It
this,
will-
it will come to us.
Yes.
And if we are agreeing that this was a Flipkart issue, then it will get removed anyways. Then the vendor will get paid 80,000. But where the vendor knows or it is aligned ki it is the vendor issue, then we can reduce and pay it. No, like it is easier than raising CN later on. In this case, what will happen is wherever there's a TAT, it will get raised. But vendor will contest when it's not his issue. Let's say vendor is saying this was not my issue, it is a Flipkart issue.
So issue bifurcation is fine, Pooja,
Mhm.
but my concern is, for example, 80,000 is a cost, and if it is vendor issue, deducting 2% on the base freight will work out or not. I think it will not.
Currently, how do you,
work out.
okay, currently 2% on freight only charge.
No.
Then how?
See, 2% only we charge. For example, it is not on the trip cost.
Then on what do you charge?
Actually, it is, what is it?
As per contract, it's supposed to be whatever you're supposed to pay the vendor. On that, you have to cut 2% as per contract. Ideally, that is how it works.
Uh,
If you look at
The
contract,
timing
it is
side.
2% of your freight cost.
Okay, if it is cost also, see how we are currently doing, there are invoices getting submitted. If that trip also is part of the invoice will become, but we are not choosing the same invoice and we are not deducting against that invoice the recovery.
Exactly. Now we won't. Okay, it is not about against invoice. Let's say I had a trip of 80,000. Okay, I am supposed to, let's say for ease, I am taking 5%, so 4K I am supposed to reduce from it. Now, what currently happens is this will get paid out by default, whether or not it's there's
Yes.
and this
Separately
we
we
will
are
separately raise a CN.
Yes.
Which is time consuming also, and you will also have to put an effort to see which are the trips you will have to raise it. Instead, let's say the payment goes, not payment, it will show vendor ki your pay is 80K, I am reducing 4K for so and so trip ka issue.
Okay.
Do you accept or not? If vendor is accepting, he'll get 76K.
Okay.
If vendor is contesting, it will come to you.
Okay.
And you will anyway validate whether it is Flipkart or not. If you're saying it is Flipkart ka issue, vendor will get 80K. You will approve complete 80K. You will not contest this. You will say, okay, my mistake, this is not supposed to, he'll get 80K. But if it is coming to you, back to you, and you're saying, no, this is not my issue, this is a vendor issue only, then he will only get 76K. Ideally, isn't this easier than, let's say we pay this out fully, then we have to reconcile which are the trips in 80K. Oh, sorry, there are 2 trips which is wrong, so we have to reduce 4K. Easier than that is to do this, no? Well, look, even on a transaction level, the reason this is happening is from audit point of view now, because you're going IPO rate. In the contract, if it is saying, that's why I also had to check contract, if in the contract it is saying 2% of freight cost, I should ideally reduce and pay him.
Okay.
Which is currently we're raising CN, net may the value is same. But if, as per contract, if I'm supposed to reduce and pay, then they will ask, why are we paying full in the first place? If you knew that, there is a TAT breach, which control team knows, then why are we paying this in the first place? We should only net off and pay.
So now, for example, if that TAT breach trip is picked up for the invoicing. So first step, which means it will always come and suggest the undercharge.
It will first review by you, right?
Okay.
So examples, Shashwat, correct me if I'm wrong. When the input, when the primary freight is say 70, it is showing us as 76K and transporter is using, no, it's not 76K, it should be 80K. This is what the transporter will do, right? Since the rate is different, it will come to you for verification, right?
No, but why? No, what I'm asking is, can't the transporter see that 80K is my freight and 4K is because of breach? We need this split to be visible to the vendor.
Let's ask. Shashwat, if my contracts have this penalties in, coded with you, or we add this in the contracts, will this split kind of format can work in the primary freight amount?
In the primary freight amount, we
So
can't
it
confirm.
is like the freight for Delhi to Bangalore is 80,000, but since the transit that has been crossed by say X number of hours and in contract it has been mentioned, we have updated in the master as well that after say 12 hours the deduction should be 2% of the freight cost. I am updating in the contract, okay? So how will you show the freight of this trip then?
To the vendor, like
Huh.
what can the vendor see? Can he see that it was 80,000 and we are reducing 4,000 because of penalty and the net is 76,000, or will he only see 76,000?
I think they have to build
So
this.
even
They have it in other.
Yes, Asha,
I
sorry, you
think,
were saying?
But I
yes,
don't know.
yes. So like we have shown for the additional loading points, right? That day
Yeah.
we are adding those charges. So similarly, if there's any penalty or
Yeah.
time breach, we'll show it in the similar way only.
But a separate field will be shown, right?
Yes,
That this
yes.
much
Like
is
it
minus
shouldn't
now.
get reduced from my primary. My primary number will not change. And it will show us a second line item key because of my breach. I am reducing 4,000 and net is 76. It should show like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then, since it is a lower amount, transporter will contest for it. It will come to approval for business side. If they approve it, well and good, the 76 will go ahead. If you don't approve it, you will just put your remarks. Transporter will see it and works this way, on penalties. The only thing is now I have to build the penalties in the contracts, and the freight module has to read those.
So
things.
now how it shows is there's primary, then
Yes.
there's hop addition.
Yes.
Now we'll add one more, which is stat breach.
penalties.
Yeah, penalty slash whatever. It's a reduction. So this will be addition X and this will be X plus and this will be X minus.
One second. Vidya? Vidya?
Yes.
Vidya, just see, in case of two-way, is Amitosh is considering forward and return in one cost, like it's on the trip level, the recovery we are doing. Like, how is he preparing the data?
So whatever two-way cost is there, right? On that, he's deducting the 246.
Okay, which means if it is a trip is only forward, we are considering the two-way cost. Or I'll call him in this call and ask.
Yeah. Amitosh, where are you guys?
Lazy labs.
Lazy lapis जाइए.
Also, who will confirm this debit? Like example from operation
System will read.
system will read from CMT team or
Stallion is Amitosh who has to check those trips.
You want to confirm
Or
that?
you should have a data shared with us. And if that if the trip is part of that data, then we will go ahead and approve.
It's like if that is present in say his database, you will see this contested. You can just search this trip in his database.
If it is part of that penalty, then this is our vendor recovery we need to do. If it is not part, then we will cancel that, saying that we will pay you full.
Then you'll approve the initial
Approve
amount.
saying that the 80 amount will be approved from our side.
Right. But you can also edit the.
So, but
amount.
here we will understand if it is trip level, only forward cost will be picked in the system, right? In the intuition.
Yes.
So we will understand whether is he doing this 2%, 4% reduction on the entire cost, or the he is only doing in the forward cost. If it is 80, then 40K only we have to do the deduction. 2%.
He's doing it on two ways, two-way only. He does
Total
not
cost.
have the visibility of two-way vehicle is gone just one way, no return trip and all of that. That kind of visibility he does not have.
But
He's coming till you get the details. Okay,
but
he's coming
here
there.
this 80K will be a two-way cost if it is. System it will pick only the one trip. What is the forward cost? Which means A to B trip ID. What is the cost of half cost?
Yes,
right?
yes. The half A to B ka
So
cost.
then how we will apply this?
No, so she's saying that I have A to B and B to A, right?
Yes.
This entire thing is 80K. So first half is 40K, second trip is 40K.
Right.
Okay. Now when I'm taking 5%, I'm taking on 80K. This is what should happen.
Right.
Correct, Amitosh. This is how we are doing on the trip complete cost.
Not on one lane of the two-way cost, right? You'll do it on a complete cost.
The trip ID will only have the forward trip,
See,
for example.
all penalty now we are calculating in the two-way rate. Mein.
Okay, clear. Fine.
So now the thing is, since in our TMS the trips are created of two-way also A to B and B to A separately, and Intuition mein or Intuition chodo, any master which is updated, the way the contracts are, they are also A to B separate and B to A separate.
No,
The contract.
Two-way would show A to B, two-way lane is 80K. It will not show A to B is 40K, B to A is 40K. It's a two-way lane.
I check this thing.
Yeah, this
I
is
check
very
this thing.
important.
If master is updated as A to B cost off of full cost, two-way cost,
Right.
then this logic will work out. So there again on the, I mean, if we apply on the cost, then we are losing. We are losing.
ठीक है,
Correct. That's a good point.
This
Yeah, we
I will
should-
take care. Shashwat, जो हमारा freight optimization tool है, that will work in this case, no? If there are two one-way trips, it can convert you to two-way, and then the two-way rate will be shown for that particular trip.
Yes.
है ना? ठीक है. I will take care of this. I'll explain how this thing will be handled by Intuition. They have a module for this. It is live as well. So I'll explain you those small ones.
So if this is clear, then we shouldn't have an issue. right?
हाँ, cool. ठीक है.
Just make sure that this is.
One second. Vidya, you raised the and.
How are we solving that zonal salvation? in this?
Even I want. Next point is that only.
Okay, so salvation, I don't know. Can you just explain that type of module?
Yeah,
also?
I'm
Penalties, I'm
sure
clear
Jack will
now.
give you the proper explanation on that.
Basically, salvation is the recovery amount. If the vehicle got delayed, na,
Hmm.
for doing the CPD salvation, we pay the local and zonal movement vehicle. Whatever the cost is occurred for that CPD salvation, we put those amount to the national vendor. Then this is only the salvation recovery.
इसके लिए proper फिर credit note module बनेगा ना, because this is not present in the part of the contract, right?
No, it is actually part of contract. I think we should check the zonal contract.
It is part of contract stating that, you know, if any vendor breaks the service levels of any kind, it can be done. Okay. There is a screenshot that I think I've shared with someone. I can share it, share that. It is part of our contract. The only thing we need to check here is, you know, let's say the entire cost of the salvation is higher than the freight cost. So the freight cost, the complete freight cost will get deducted, not the higher amount than the freight cost. That logic needs to be built.
So I think here also.
Wait, so then just one thing to understand. So let's say if my salvation higher than freight cost, Flipkart will bear the higher amount. Is that how it works, or?
No, we will deduct entire cost what was salvation made against that vendor.
No, my vendor ka deployment was for 50,000. It broke down. I deployed another vendor and it was 60,000. So now will I ask this vendor to pay me 10,000?
60.
Achha, he will pay 60K to you. Well, 50 you will not pay him, and an additional 10,000 he has to pay you.
No, we are recovering 60, right?
60.
So
Currently,
he's-
we are recovering 60,000.
And we are paying him 50. So it's
Ah,
not 10.
okay. In then 10 we'll have to get from him. This we can build in.
This is the proper module which has to be built, right?
Yes, separate
Yeah,
credit. note
This is
module.
this to part is of penalties that I
This
can
is clear,
understand.
yeah.
This is something which will be auto calculated by the system. This cannot be calculated because system
No,
won't
I
understand
understand
this thing.
As per intelligent, what will happen is this is vendor A, this is vendor B.
So it will
We will just pay B as per current module. But
yes.
I think they should have a tagging key. This is a salvation vehicle. Like there should be a tagging in intelligent that if I'm placing a second vehicle mid trip, I should have an option to say that it is for salvation.
See, if an additional vehicle has to be placed, no,
Mm.
even if it's of a different vendor or same vendor, even if it provides us, there is a reason when we put that
Okay.
vehicle number. There will be
Okay.
vehicle breakdown. Yes, so there are tens of reasons.
Okay, and this will
that-
happen zonal or central team can do it. Who does it go to?
So
for
because
monitoring?
it's live for national only.
Okay, fine.
Currently, it is done by a CMT and PMT team.
Understood.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and then now the thing is how to bake this amount in, because what will happen is how the freight module will be read. शायद मुझे correct करना अगर रास्ते के बीच में if the vehicle breaks down and रास्ते के बीच में पहला वाला part is vehicle number A and the remaining part is vehicle number B of a different transporter. Then how the freight module will show, with that freight module will show the amount of trip B, vendor B or vendor A half and vendor B the remaining half.
So we are also changing the vendor in this case, yeah?
Vendor is also changed. Vendor is changed.
Okay, just 1 minute. Ayush, आपको क्या बोलते हैं?
Yes. So Vidya, I don't think we are handling this scenario right now. In this case, if
अभी
you
नहीं
want
है, अभी नहीं है, yes, अभी नहीं है
वो
ये, अभी नहीं कर रहे हमारे system पे.
correct. So in this case, it will be a new trip. One vehicle number plus transporter is for transporter. It will be a different trip ID.
Yes.
For this new trip, a new trip for the second transporter and a new vehicle, a second trip has to be created. Then we can decide that do we need to pay for both the trips or one of the trip.
But our internal trip ID will be one.
But the Flipkart trip ID will be one trip ID only.
That we will have to handle somehow.
But this module is
That
not
Hello?
our trip
there
ID
yet.
can be
This
same.
has to be. But you got how to build this. Like,
हाँ
I
मैम
mean, they
अभी उस
figured
पे
out how
ही
to
है
build
हम
it, but
लोग.
you understood the logic, right?
I understand
And
the
in
logic,
this
but
case,
how do we want it to be done? Matlab,
it will be like
अभी
this only.
चल ही
See,
रहा है मैम कॉल
okay,
अभी
another
कंक्लूड
case is
नहीं हुआ
if a vendor itself
है.
gives another vehicle. He's
So
not
here
giving
there will be
salvation.
another scenario also,
मैम
Pooja.
ये
For
क्रेडिट नोट
example,
इन्होंने बोला
the
था
vehicle
बट
has to
एक्चुअली
reach
डेबिट नोट है.
morning 6 o'clock.
हाँ.
But they would
वो
have
ट्रांसफर को
planned
डेबिट
the
करते हैं इन
regular
केस अगर
vehicles.
ट्रांजिट
Maybe
से
they would have
ज्यादा
planned 4
वो डिले
vehicles.
हो जाता है
But
तो
since
रीच
it is a
करने में.
delay and we have to, those vehicles would have been not filled completely, so we would have sent those cut-off vehicles, zonal vehicles. So if it is
एक बार
reaching
मैं देख
afternoon 3
लेता हूँ.
o'clock, so we are planning all 4. Also, if it is required, additional vehicle also will be planned to recover that salvations. So which means there will be, instead of 4, we will plan 6 also sometimes.
Okay.
I'm charged for this currently.
Yes.
Okay.
We are recovering from the national vendor who has delayed this.
Okay,
But
but because he came to the dock late, then you had to send it
Yes,
for cutoff.
see, morning, if it is other loads are there in that vehicle, we will send off those 4 vehicles, which is already closing the cutoff by 6 or 7 in the
Okay,
morning.
can you tell me all cases we have salvation? One is your breakdown in the middle of the way. So second is if they reach the dock late. That
See,
means late loading.
any situation is reaching late only to the dock. Breakdown, accident, or any problem.
Achha, you're
traffic jam.
saying, but if you're placing a
I'm
separate
saying
vehicle.
here, instead of A, B is placing, or the number of vehicles also will increase in the zonal. To make sure, because we have to deliver within next 4 hours the shipments to the customers, then we will plan
Achha,
accordingly.
you're saying instead of one, like A had one vehicle, instead of that B has to place 2 vehicles. Okay, it's the same
Just
scenario.
one small doubt. B is a zonal vendor, A is a national vendor.
No, A, B is both a
National vendor.
zonal vendor.
But the
Because
national
my,
कहाँ से आया
see,
बीच में?
because my I national vendor is delayed
हाँ.
and it has not reached the
वो
actual,
पागल होने वाला हुआ है.
actual time of the dock. So we are after 6 hours it is reaching. So
सैलवेशन ये
we are
बोल रहे हैं कि
planning the
अगर
first
लेट हो
connection
जाता
of
है
zonal and local movements.
और
Ad hoc
ये लोग
movements.
फिर ट्रांसपोर्टर से
movements
पैसा
kind of.
लेते हैं.
So those, because of our national delay, we are
हाँ.
placing the additional vehicles, right? Those additional costs incurred by the
तो
zonal
फिर
local
एक बार मेरे
will be,
मैं एक बार मैं इनका
recovered
डिस्कशन
from
हो
the
जाए तो मैं
national
सॉल्यूशन
vendor.
पूछता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे भी पूरा समझ आया नहीं ये
One
लोग
is
क्या
I
बात
am
कर रहे
moving
हैं.
from point A to point
हाँ.
B.
हाँ.
Okay. Over here, breakdown happens. So one vendor was doing from here and the next vendor is doing from here.
This is national tag break.
Correct. This is national tag bridge. The case you're saying is I already reached B, but I reached 6 hours late.
Yes.
So from B, I deployed, let's say 2-3 vehicles. This will get
Usually I will place only one vehicle from the zonal team.
Acha, instead
Because
of
it is delayed for 6 years, I have used 2 vehicles.
Okay, this is one case.
Additionally.
Second case. Can you tell me if there's any other?
So this is purely tag break.
Understood.
Which we
Tell me
already built.
if there's additional cases or these 2 other major cases.
Here, there, if it is, I mean, if you have not used the same cut-off vehicle, those vehicle will be used there, which means if it is 1 vehicle, that recovery happens. If it is 3 vehicles also, 3 vehicle cost will be recovered.
Whatever is additional to my BAU.
Yes.
Okay. Third, is there any other case?
Credited, on vehicle vendor number 8 has to be.
Yes, national vendor A.
I'll tell you, we can't.
इसके लिए फिर पूरा module होगा. इसके लिए
I think that's
individual
what- let's
cannot
first
help.
understand what are the different
Yes.
types. Is there any other type where you salvage salvation from zonal vendors?
Yeah,
Pooja,
so in the same-
any deviation, any TAT delays, right? TAT breach, the only caveat is utilization. Utilization delay is something that is a call that Flipkart has taken by itself. So there will not be any debates. Other than that, anything that happens, right? Be it accident, be it breakdown, be it, I don't know, numerous reasons. If there is any TAT delay because of which we have deployed additional vehicle, there's a cutoff breach, all that will be a debit.
Even this scenario will fall under the CPD salvation.
Got
Because
it. All of this is
Yes,
tag breach only, but
so
I
maybe the same A vendor is delayed to place the another vehicle, cross-dock vehicle, and we already running short of 6 hours of delay. So it will reach the zonal location 6 hours delay. Then we will end up taking additional ad hoc vehicles of zonal local. If here both the trips are safe, then there is a logic built by this person where he will do the cross check, which is the cost highest. If it is zonal cost is highest for recovery, then we will not do the deduction here. We will only do the deduction here. If this is less and this is more, we will do the deduction here.
Okay, see,
this is
understood that
not
all
to
of
be
this is
built
for
in the
TAT
system.
breach, but in order to build it into another module, we'll need to understand which are the different cases. See, there could be breakdown, this thing, and where it reaches late and you have to deploy additional zonal vehicles to meet the TAT. Other than this, like, can you think of
See, that
cases
is-
where this could happen?
No, the case will be only the TAT. If it is 24
No,
hours,
no, Nandini, TAT is clear.
Huh.
I'm saying, what are the, like, in order to build it into module, we need exhaustively understanding of what are the possible cases. In this case, we'll have to take these 3 vehicles ka additional cost and build it to vendor A. I'm saying, other than this, are there other scenarios? I understood that it's TAT breach, but
Is
is there
Amit is
any?
there in the this thing room? He can give you the list of this thing that he considers as the
Yeah,
zone.
can you give us an exhaustive list of what are the possible ways of salvation? See, this is a very clear-cut case, whether it's accident, breakdown, anything, it's the same like manner of cross-charging. I'm saying in this case, it is because you're deploying additional vehicles after it reaches the dock. Are there other cases, like say at the start point or midpoint? Is there other cases? Give us an exhaustive list, so then you can
I
tell
can
them how
tell
to
you
make
to
it
build
into the
it.
module.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
This one last point. This, though it will be on trip base, but we'll bill it on an invoice, right?
no, total cost.
Total cost, invoice amount, right? Invoice amount. So it should not be a part of a trip. It will be a separate module where he has to click it, put these reasons, put the amount, put the example. And if possible, there is a trip related to it, he can put the trip, but it cannot be picked by the system, right? So it will be a
Yeah,
separate
this
page.
is the reason currently we are also not doing against the same trip.
हाँ
We are
चलेगा
doing separately for the 25 days of trips at one call.
ठीक है so yes works. Penalty is closed. Salvation शाश्वत ये जो हमारा जो हम अभी point discuss कर रहे थे उसके लिए I'll give you a list to what kind of things we have and I'll tell you how to build it also. We'll have a proper discussion against it. But by the conversation, did you understand what the problem statement was?
No, I need some clarity.
Okay, then works.
So,
I'll schedule a separate call for you. And
I have a couple of things quickly I wanted to understand. So, Nandini, जैसे आपका accident हो गया midway में, national vehicle, let's say, met an accident, and then we are doing salvation. We are bringing another vendor's national vehicle at the midpoint, and there is also a delay of 6 hours because of this accident and the changeover and cross docking. So we will charge the first vendor the cost of the second vendor and then the zonal additional vehicle. Both of them will charge from the first vendor, right?
No, we will not pay the first vendor at all.
अच्छा
अशोक हम ना एक काम करेंगे मतलब इस टाइप के केसेस में ना दे विल नॉट बी लिंक टू अ ट्रिप मैंने वही उनसे पूछा इट विल बी बेस्ड ऑन एन इनवॉइस सो वो ट्रिप
अच्छा।
ही हमारे उसमें दिखनी नहीं चाहिए है ना
अच्छा
दिस विल नॉट बी अ ट्रिप बेस्ड थिंग ये पूरा एक सेपरेट मॉड्यूल ही बन जाएगा जिसमें ही नॉट पुट अ ट्रिप इफ देयर इज अ ट्रिप वो ट्रिप नंबर टाइप करेगा पर वो सिस्टम से पिक ट्रिप नहीं होगी राइट ऐसा ऐसा होगा वो राइट ना सिस्टम पिक ट्रिप नहीं होगी आपको उसमें सिस्टम से कुछ पिक नहीं करना है आपको बस एक मॉड्यूल बिल्ड करना है वेयर दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग कैन बी रेज्ड which will come to an approval मतलब एक तरीके से सेपरेट टाइप ऑफ इनवॉइस ही समझ लीजिए बट वो किसी चीज से लिंक नहीं होगा
अंडरस्टूड ओके
और वो हमारी टीम रेज करेगी टुवर्ड्स द ट्रांसपोर्टर है ना जो उसको
गॉट इट
अप्रूव करना है जो भी देखेंगे वो तो हम सोच सकते हैं कि अप्रूव होगा कि ऑटो अप्रूव होगा वो दैट वी कैन
I think this will not have the auto approval. How the national trip will have the connect with the zonal trip?
वही that's what I'm
वही
saying
वही वो किसी को
हाँ ये
enter
चीज
करना
सिस्टम को
पड़ेगा
नहीं
सारा डेटा
समझेगा कि नेक्स्ट कौन सी है दिस इज समथिंग जो मैन्युअली आपको पुट करना पड़ेगा कि बिकॉज ऑफ दिस नॉट डन दिस हैज टू बी एडिशनली प्लेस्ड दिस सिस्टम तो गलती से भी कभी पता नहीं कर सकता हमारा टीएमएस पता नहीं कर सकता है इंटीजर कैसे पता करेगा so we don't flow this information to this our system also this is not picked up this is something which by brains we do it so, ठीक है हर्षद शाश्वत आई शेड्यूल अ सेपरेट कॉल हाउ टू बिल्ड इट करके एंड
ठीक है
ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग में आपको
इसको डॉक्यूमेंट भी कर लेते हैं विद्या ना ये गोइंग फॉरवर्ड बहुत कंफ्यूजिंग होने वाला है
आई हैव रिकॉर्डेड दिस मीटिंग तो इसके ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स भी आए होंगे we can I'll share that with you and when I give you that explanation of how to build it we'll prepare a BID type of document at least
हाँ यस राइट
ठीक है okay
So
हाँ आयुष
Yes. So Vidya, but just want to get clarity. So there are basically two kinds of payments. One is that transporter A planned a trip with vehicle A. That
Huh.
same transporter has completed the trip with same vehicle, but there is
Yes.
some additional payment or some deduction that has to happen because of
Yes,
tad weight or any other
penalties.
reason.
Huh,
And
penalties.
second is the planned transporter plus vehicle combination did not complete the trip. Some other transporter or vehicle did it. So we might have to pay either one of the vendor because the first transporter did not execute any trip. The execution happened by other transporter. So there will be no underlying document for this, correct?
Please come back, Ayush.
Yes.
The second.
If a planned transporter A was supposed to complete a trip with vehicle A, but that did not happen, some other transporter placed a vehicle. In this case, you only pay transporter B and not the transporter A.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Or also, do you recover any cost from transporter A that because of you all of this happened? So, is there any deduction happening separately for first
See, the
transporter?
cost are same. We will not do any recovery. If A is 80 and then the B is 85, then 5 will be internally adjusted with between A and B. Like we will
Differential
ask.
cost will be adjusted during accounting.
Yes, yes.
Ayush,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. ये वाली जो चीजें हैं ना, see the first point which you mentioned is across the contract जहाँ में penalties है, in which the
Yes.
transporter was not able to suffice the requested transit at. First point is only for penalties. The second point is not a trip-based activity. वो trip-based होगा ही नहीं. It
So you do not want us to fine. That will discuss in another
I
call.
don't want your system to give me that for this thing, this happened, and then this. We will raise that. It will be a separate page. I will explain it to you how I want this module to be built. But the only thing is this will not be trip based. ना आपको ये कभी समझेगा ये वाला point कि यहाँ से ये pick हुआ है. For this reason I have to use the other thing. अभी use the other thing comes from zonal. That information is never feeded to Intuition. In fact, this information is not feeded in TMS also that way. That because of this thing, I had to do this. This reason is not over there also. This is a
Understood.
manual separate trackers which we keep. So,
Understood.
so
Th-
this will not be understood by the system anyway. This will be a separate invoicing page only, which our team will raise for the transporter across the reasons of what he was not able to do. It's a credit note, right? Debit note. It's a debit note.
Understood. That was my confusion that whether you raise a debit note and adjust it in during the accounting payments, or
Yes.
you pay the full amount and then raise a CN separately. So it is
Full
only
amount
debit
will be
and no
paid for
CN.
that particular trip. In the month end, for the entire month, whatever the recovery needs to be done, for the if it is for a vendor, 10 trips has been crossed the breach, then all those 10 trips, 2% deduction will happen on the total cost.
Understood.
ठीक है ना? I'll schedule a separate connecting call.
There will be debits on the shipment losses and the.
But मतलब this module will suffice that, right? मतलब
How it will.
मतलब penalties वाला point will be separate, but this module, when there is a shipment loss also, that can also be raised on this part, right? One is the trips thing. Manual selection.
Yes.
Because this is also not related to
that also for the manual
that's
selection.
what I'm asking, the reasons. What Pooja was also asking.
Like there is a theft case.
Theft case, accident case.
BSNR cases will come in, baggage shipment not received
So that
cases.
is something which we will raise, right? Across an invoice, not a particular trip. For this case, we have a trip, so we'll just put an ID of trip over there. I'll make sure that there is a field of trip ID wherever that is possible for us to put that trip ID, we'll put. If it is not possible for us, we'll just explain the reasons for it. ऐसे ही होता है ना debit note, we just put the reasons and
Yes.
it is just submitted.
We will prepare that format with the required details that will be converted into PDF, sign and upload.
You have that format,
Yes.
yeah? Any raised debit note?
Yes.
Can you just share that with me? Harshit, I'll just share, I'll explain you that debit note ka what is kind of raised example, and then that way we can build it. If we make the same format, it will be easier for us as well.
So even there will be a scenario in case there is a property damages.
Property of what?
Our property.
Flipkart property.
Yeah. If our vehicle is damaging our property, we will recover to a debit or credit.
Okay, for now I am noting down these 4 points. अभी तो आप मुझे points भेज देना. Nandini, आप मुझे-
This will not fall under
this- oh.
shipment losses. Also, the property damage will not fall there.
So how do you get to know these things? From them.
Through zone team,
Ground team.
ground team
If
will let
you-
us know,
Huh.
this is a national vehicle damage, this so property, this is the repair cost, we have to recover from the vendor. Sometimes vendor will do himself the repairing,
Huh.
otherwise he will say, you guys do
Raise
it,
it, huh.
raise it and debit from my invoice.
So what I do is I prepare a sheet. Usme I'll put his reasons also, and now I'll put these 2-3 reasons. If anytime you get reminded of some reason, just put those reasons also into it. And Harshit ko, I'll just put a drop down over those reasons. It will be easier for you to select the drop down for creating the debit.
Correct.
And I'll just share one example.
The
Debit
debit
note,
note
if
copy.
possible.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
If possible, can you share of this reason and one of these reasons?
See, the format is same. But the description
description,
or
हाँ, वही
recoveries will vary. That's it.
1 or 2 examples. ठीक है. Okay, works. ठीक है, we'll all connect. And Harshit, Shashwat, we'll
And
connect.
again, I wanted to understand, currently we are also running in the purchase request purchase order module.
PO module, right?
हाँ.
That is मेरी वरुण से बात हुई. PO module में लाइन हॉल के इतने नेशनल के इतने तो नहीं होते हैं ना PO
During
होता है.
sale.
ड्यूरिंग सेल. बट अभी टाइम है ना उसके लिए, इसलिए आई एम थिंकिंग ओके
नेशनल भी होता है B2B मूवमेंट्स के लिए.
बट B2B इधर नहीं आता. इधर सिर्फ B2C लाइन हॉल आता है.
कुछ नहीं है, सिर्फ B2C.
इधर सिर्फ B2C की ट्रिप्स आती है. B2B ट्रिप्स doesn't come to
It
India.
is separate, as usual process.
उसका as usual करना पड़ेगा. I mean, अभी नहीं लेते हैं. This was not discussed in the initial thing. So
Okay.
at least इसका B2C का ढंग से कर लेते हैं. फिर अगर जरूरत पड़ी तो हम B2B भी लेके 2-3 और ठीक है. Okay. We can increase the scope if needed. But for now, it's just B2C line haul. PO module,